Let me ask you a question. Is it cheating if you don't get caught?
I have never knowingly violated NCAA rules while serving as head coach of this great program.
What if you're cheating and you do get caught?
The NCAA notice of allegations issued in October charged Arizona with 5 Level 1 violations.
And nothing comes from it. Is that still cheating? Well, yeah, of course it is. However, when it comes to NCAA basketball, cheating is woven into the very fabric of the sport. It got so bad in 2017, the freaking FBI was called in. And what came of that? Let's find out. College basketball's most cheatingest moments are coming up right after this. Before we get started, these are ranked from least cheatingest to most cheatingest, and we were looking for incidents that affected on-court play. So Rick Pitino nutting in a waitress is out, but Rick Pitino is definitely on this list. Also, cheatingest is totally a word. Much ado about something. You ever just look at someone and know they are dirty? Well, that's what Sean Miller looks like. He was certainly up to something when he was at Arizona, where he was allegedly caught on FBI wiretaps in 2018, offering $100,000 for future #1 overall pick DeAndre Ayton's services. Well, I guess those tapes never surfaced because all Miller had to do was deny the allegations and he went right back to coaching. Arizona had 3 recruits back out and Miller stayed on for 3 more years until he was just recently fired in 2021. Wait. What? BYU has always been a school with impeccable moral veneer. In 2011, Brandon Davies was kicked off the team for having premarital sex. I'm presuming Sports Talk Barry sent letters to the school expressing his outrage. But that's not the cheating here. In 2018, it was discovered guard Nick Emery received improper benefits and the Cougars were forced to vacate 47 wins. Yikes. I wonder what those benefits were. Extra white-collared shirts and bikes? A close shave. It's hard to believe, but back in the 50s, CCNY was a basketball powerhouse. Fresh off their 1950 national championship, the players got greedy. When one player, Junius Kellogg, refused and reported a bribe, the police set up a sting operation where they nabbed 32 players from 7 different colleges for fixing games from 1947 to 1950. There were harsh penalties for all schools involved, including Kentucky. CCNY dropped its program down to Division III and has never returned to Division I. Past the Mayo. It may be hard to believe, but OJ Mayo was once the most sought-after recruit in the world. After decommitting from K-State, Mayo attended USC for 1 year and was picked 3rd overall in the 2008 NBA draft. Since then, things have not gone well. In 2008, it was discovered he received gifts and cash, and USC vacated all of its wins from that season. Mayo played 8 average seasons in the NBA before being banned and moving on to various foreign leagues. I think it was drugs that he was banned for. Could have been a movie. We all know this meme, right? Too bad the real guy, Henry Hill, was involved in a massive betting scandal. Hill and associates used his contacts to leverage against a few players on the 1979 Boston College basketball team to manipulate point spreads. Well, their first run didn't go well, so they decided to recruit more players. That worked, but still not that great. Out of 9 games they fixed, only 4 went their way. The scheme was uncovered when Hill was arrested on drug charges and he sang like a bird. BC player Rick Kuhn was convicted of taking bribes, and though never charged, the scandal cost Ernie Cobb his NBA career. It's tax season, and you might actually get money back this year. Yay! Let's be smart about this. It's time to pay off that high-interest debt you accumulated. Yes, adulting is hard, but there is an easier way. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating debt, or funding personal expenses, over 1 million people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Getting your money right can take hard decisions, but Upstart gives you transparency, clarity, and hope. With Upstart, you can check your rate without impacting your credit score in just 5 minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. They know you are more than a credit score. Upstart considers factors like income, employment, and more to get you a smarter rate. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today by going to upstart.com/5 points or click the link in the description below. That's upstart.com/5 points. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Again, go to upstart.com/5 points. Still lovable? In the NBA, Derrick Rose plays with an all-out love for the game. But test taking is not his thing, and I'm thinking that didn't matter in his career. While still in high school, Rose allegedly had someone else take his SATs so that he could be eligible to play at Memphis. Rose had failed the ACT 3 times, but then went to Detroit to take the SATs and was somehow eligible. Don't you get like 250 points for just putting your name on it? Despite no confirmed evidence, Memphis was forced to vacate all their wins from 2008, including their Final Four run, which was ended by Mario Chalmers. Much ado about nothing. Back in 2011, allegations surrounding UNC's football program spilled over into its basketball program. After investigations into improper gifts, it was discovered that UNC was setting up sham courses in order to give their athletes easy grades. In addition to the classes, athletes were also given tutors who, instead of tutoring, usually just did their assignments for them. Despite numerous allegations and investigations, UNC received not a single penalty from the NCAA, since anyone in the school could have taken their sham classes. What does that say about UNC? The death penalty. If you haven't figured it out, the NCAA is a toothless organization, but 2 times they have leveraged their harshest punishment. Once to the SMU football team, which is well documented, and another time to a basketball team you probably never heard of. In 1973, the University of Southwest Louisiana were found guilty of over 120 violations, mostly involving improper gifts and academic fraud. The team was shut down, aka given the death penalty by the NCAA for 2 years. The school then rebranded as Louisiana Lafayette, and the Ragin' Cajuns returned to commit more violations in 2007. Costly punishment. In 1985, John Hot Rod Williams was arrested on suspicion of point shaving while at Tulane University. Williams was raised dirt poor and was a target for corruption. After a mistrial and a second trial, he was found not guilty of all charges. Williams was drafted in the NBA but was forced to play in the USBL pending the result of his trial. He would go on to play 14 years in the league. Tulane ended up shutting down their basketball program for 4 years, and they have not made the tourney since 1995. Scandalous. Imagine if you broke your leg into 8 pieces and it ended up being for nothing, all because your teammates needed to bust a nut. Well, that's what happened to Louisville when their basketball team had been provided sexual favors from 2010 to 2014, during which the team won the 2013 NCAA championship. Former player and recruiter Andre McGee was used as the intermediary under Rick Pitino's oversight. Pitino was then disgraced and fired. The school was forced to vacate all their wins from 2010 to 2014, including the first one to vacate a natty. I hope Kevin Ware at least got to keep his ring. The Fab Five. Quick, can you name the Fab Five off the top of your head? If you're my age, you can, because they were one of the greatest things to ever happen to college basketball. Too bad it turned out to be a little too good to be true, and it all unraveled over a car accident. In 1996, a car driven by former Michigan player Maurice Smith crashed. The car had recruit Mateen Cleaves in it. An investigation revealed the passengers visited a man by the name of Ed Martin shortly after the crash. Some digging revealed Martin had some unsavory ties to both organized crime and the Michigan basketball team. Martin was funneling money to the Michigan players via an illegal numbers game. Following several raids, Martin was arrested and a plea bargain reached. The plea revealed his links to the Fab Five, with him admitting to giving them loans totaling over $600,000. Juwan Howard and Jalen Rose were cleared as they admitted to taking the money. However, Chris Webber fought the allegations and instead pled to a contempt of court charge in 2003. Michigan initiated a self-imposed ban and removed their Final Four banners from the Fab Five era. Webber, Howard, and Rose all played in the NBA. Rose and Webber are now analysts, and Howard is an amateur boxer. Big Shot. Yes, all these scandals are salacious, but one was so egregious, a movie was made about it. Stephen Headache Smith was a guard at ASU from 1991 to 1994, and he had a gambling problem. After racking up significant debt, he made a deal with his bookie, Benny Silman, to throw a game. It worked, so they decided to do it again. And Silman and Smith went big. In March of 1994, ASU was favored by 11 to beat UW. Word got out fast that the fix was in, and all of a sudden money started pouring in on Washington. The line shifted to -3, and all of a sudden a tank would be obvious. Even the ASU coach knew there was a fix. At halftime, he called out Smith, and Smith went out and balled, with ASU winning by 18. That was not good for Silman, who skipped town and never returned as his associates lost over $1 million. The story stayed quiet until Smith made the NBA in 1997, and it came back and reared its ugly head. Smith did a year in jail and never played in the NBA again. Silman likely works at an Auntie Anne's in a mall next to James McGill. Ignorance is bliss. Baylor won the Natty last year in convincing fashion, but years prior, an ugly scandal rocked the school. In 2003, Patrick Dennehy was found deceased in Texas, and it was determined that foul play was involved. His assailant was none other than his teammate and roommate, Carlton Dotson. Sadly, things would get worse. After an investigation, it was discovered that head coach Dave Bliss had been paying Dennehy's tuition to keep him at Baylor. Instead of owning up to this, Bliss had said that Dennehy was a drug dealer and had paid his tuition that way. But a lot of drug dealers put themselves through school. Bliss had also paid another player's tuition, claiming to be his father. Seriously? Baylor's program suffered immensely as sanctions were imposed, and Bliss was obviously fired. He resurfaced as a head coach in 2015 at SCU, but resigned after a documentary on the scandal came out in 2017. Though I think he was more fired than resigned. And finally, our most cheatingest college basketball moment ever. Remember our first entry, Sean Miller? Well, he was part of a much bigger puzzle. It all started when a financial advisor named Marty Blazer got popped for stealing from athletes in the form of Ponzi schemes. In a plea deal, he turned informant. That started an investigation in 2018 where Arizona, Auburn, Louisville, allegedly Miami, Oklahoma State, both USCs, and Alabama were all named in bribe and pay-for-play schemes. A second investigation occurred in which 17 schools and additional players were all named in the scandal, which mostly centered around money laundering and wire fraud. Additionally, youth basketball programs and an executive that worked for Adidas were involved. There were so many consequences to the investigation, it had to be put into an HBO sports documentary called The Scheme. However, all in all, not many actual criminal charges have sticked. Yes, people were arrested, but little sanctions were imposed, and outside a few coaches and assistants resigning, nothing really major came out of a federal fucking investigation of essentially all of college basketball. Well, at least not yet. It's still pending. But hey, the machine keeps rolling. Let's all fill out our brackets. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.